So verse 24, the wise man is the one who builds his house on the rock. Verse 25, and the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house. Verse 26, the foolish man builds his house on the sand. Verse 27, and the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house. What's the same? Both of the houses have a storm. And I don't want you to miss how important that is. Both of the houses have a storm. The house that's good, that's built on Jesus, that's built on the rock, also gets the storm. Just like the one who's built on the sand gets a storm, the good house, the wise builder, the one who's on Jesus, the one who built, that gets a storm too. And I don't want you to lose how important this difference is, because if you're looking at the storm, you might think there's something wrong. There's something wrong with my house. There's something wrong with the foundation. But the one with a good foundation also gets the storm. If you're only looking at the storm, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. If you're only seeing the storm, you won't be able to tell the difference what situation you're in. Why? Because both of them get the storm. If you're only looking at the storm, you're not going to see what's happening. You're not going to see what God's doing. But isn't that exactly what we do? When the storm comes, we're just looking at the storm. We're looking at the problems that are happening. We're looking at all the things that are going wrong. That has all of our attention, all of our focus, all of our thoughts, all of our feelings are all centered on what? On the storm. It's all on the storm. It's all the things that are going bad, all the things that are not going right, all the things that are hurtful, all the conflicts that we're having, all the things that are going on in our lives, all the storms that are happening. It takes all of our attention. And I want to say, that's normal. I want to say that's normal. It's hard not to let that be your consuming thing. It's hard because it's a storm. It's loud. You know, it really shouts out to you and grabs your attention. And I want to say that's normal. That's normal for us to grab our attention. It's normal for us to be thinking about it all the time, praying about it all the time, and focused in on the storm. But what I want to say is, even though it's normal, we can't stay there. We have to realize that it's not about the storm. It's about the foundation. I remember when I first got married, and my wife was a junior high teacher. Okay, so she's junior high teacher. I don't know how she does it. So Caleb, props to you, and all the people who work with junior high. It's like, I don't know how you do it. Okay, but she was a junior high teacher, and she had just been teaching for a couple years when we got married. When we got married, okay, and I kind of feel bad because I was a teacher also. I was teaching economics at community college. So we're both teachers. Okay, when we got married, God called me into ministry. Okay, so I felt bad because it was kind of like a bait and switch a little bit, right? She thought she was marrying a teacher. Surprise! I had no idea. That was not on my radar at all. That's a totally different story. But God called me into ministry after we got married. Okay, so I started going to seminary. I was going to Talbot. Okay, so I started seminary. So I was a student, and Talbot, even way back then, expensive. Okay, private school, expensive. Okay, I was going to seminary school, costing a lot of money. My wife was a brand new junior high teacher. It's tough to say we did not have a lot of money. Okay, we had just got married. We're newlyweds. We're trying to live in Southern California, which is like super expensive. And it was hard, to be honest. It was hard. And we had a lot of financial stress. And to say, it's kind of like our storm. Okay, we had a lot of like fights and arguments. Okay, let me give you some background too. Okay, so in terms of money, like I'm a natural saver. Okay, no one ever taught me to do that. I just kind of always just did it, right? I was kind of like my dad. He was like kind of like a saver. He said, "Oh, I don't really need anything." I kind of felt the same way. I'm like, I'm good. Like I don't really need anything. So I was kind of natural. How many are savers here? Anybody? Anybody a natural saver? Just like first service. I got one. How many are like spenders? They like to spend. Come on, can I get some more spenders? All the rest of you are liars. Okay, come on. Okay, so I'm a saver. My wife is more spender if I could say. And it's so funny. Like I've known her we just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary last year. Okay, so thank you. So I thought she was a spender. Like, I realize now she's not that much of a spender. I know some spenders. Some of you are those people, right? I know it. I've seen spenders, right? She's not that, right? But at the time, I didn't know that. I thought, like, who is this person that I married, right? And just to give you some context, right? So I remember when I first got to college, I opened up my first bank account. Okay? Never had anything before that. College, freshman, opened up a bank account. All throughout college, I live frugally. People would say that I'm cheap. I would say I'm a good steward. They say that I'm cheap, right? And so I just worked, I saved, I never spent any money. I just worked part-time jobs, right? I was like, worked at the bookstore, I was a campus tutor, I did different things like that, all throughout my years at college. When I graduated undergrad, I applied to graduate school, okay? I applied to graduate school in economics, and I got a full ride, okay? So that's not part of the story. But anyway, I got a full ride. And then when I got a full ride, I realized, wow, I had saved all this money for the past 5 years. I don't even need it, right? Not only to pay all my tuition, they gave me like living money too, okay? That was like how good the scholarship that I had gotten. So what I decided to do is I took all that money and I bought my dad a car. And I want to share that because that's how much money I saved. During these 5 years, part-time worker in college, I bought my dad a car. Okay, just to give you some context of like my level, right? So like, I'm a saver. Okay, so I come into the marriage, and my wife is not like that. Again, I know now she's not that much of a spender, but compared to me, she looked like, a spender, right? And so I remember she would like bring some stuff home, and then she has like, bags or stuff there. I'm like, hey, what's in the bag? Right? She would not show me. She's like, it's stuff. I got stuff, right? I'm like, what's in the bag? Like, seriously, like, I'm not going to get mad. Come on. Just show me what's in the bag, right? And so she'd take it out and some shoes. I'm like, seriously? You need another pair of shoes? How many pairs of shoes can a woman have, right? And she's like, you have work shoes, and you have this kind of shoes, and you have this kind of... What? I didn't understand any of that. I'm like, you only have 2 pair of feet. You only have 2 feet. You don't have 10 feet, right? How many shoes do... Okay, so we're like getting this big argument, and then we're going back and forth, and then I remember this other day. She brought home this other thing, and it was like this dress. It looked kind of expensive, right? I'm like, dude, this is kind of expensive dress, right? And so she said how she was at the mall, and she's like, okay, I'm not going to buy anything, right? Because we don't have a lot of money, right? She's like, I'm not going to buy anything. I'm just going to window shop. So I'm just going to go by, look at it. And then she said, I saw this through the window, and I'm like, I just want to try it on, right? I just want to try it on and see if they have my size, right? And so I think God was behind it because they had my size in here, right? So she kicks it, and then she goes in the dressing room, and then she tries it on, and then she said, wow, I look really good, right? And she felt like Satan was kind of like whispering in her ear, like, man, that dress makes you look really good, really thin, right? And so I said, well, what did you do? I said, you should just rebuke Satan. And she said, I did. I said, Satan, get behind me. And then he said, well, you look really good from back here too. That actually didn't happen. That was just a joke. But those things happen, right? When we're arguing, and then she's bringing up all those different things. And she would say things like, she'd bring something home, and she said, why did you get this? We're like struggling with money. She said, I got 40% off. Like, this is such a good deal right now. And I said, I know how you can save more money. Do you know how you can save more money? You can get 100% off. Don't buy it. 100% savings, right? But this was kind of like our thing back and forth, and I can laugh at it now, but we would get in some arguments, right? And we get some conflict. And it got to the point where she couldn't trust me anymore because I would get so upset, right? And there's a reason she had to like not show things to me. Like I remember one time I looked in her closet, and she hid something, right? She hid something in the closet so I wouldn't see it. And I was like, wow, it's come to this, right? Where she has to hide stuff, right? She doesn't trust me. She doesn't trust my heart anymore. And so she couldn't say things to me. She couldn't bring up money. Even though she was stressed about it, we couldn't talk about it. Because whenever we talked about it, we fight. And it would go on, and we go through that, and we have all these different conflicts. And when I was going through that storm, where do you think my focus was? It was on the storm. What did I think the problem was? I think the problem was money. Money's the problem. If we had more money, we wouldn't be going through this. Well, fast forward. I graduated seminary. I got a full-time job. Now 2 of us are working. Church doesn't pay a lot, but I'm still, instead of spending a lot of money, at least I'm making some money, and I feel like things would get better. Guess what? It's the same. It was the same. Still arguing about money. Still stressed about money. And I started realizing money's not the problem. The storm is not the problem. It's my foundation. It's my foundation. Because when we look at that and God started addressing, saying like, even though you're making money, you're still having the same kind of stress. Even though you're making more money and you don't have all these different external pressures, you're still arguing about money. He starts showing me it's not about the money. It's not about the storm. It's about what's underneath. It's about your foundation. And then he was showing me your foundation is not right because you trust in money instead of God. Instead of engaging Jesus, instead of engaging him, instead of hearing him and listening to him and obeying him and engaging him and knowing him as your foundation, you're trusting money instead. You think money is your salvation. You think money is your security. And the reason you get so upset when your wife is spending money, because she's taking away from your security. And then you don't feel safe anymore. And you get upset because she's spending money and it's hitting your foundation. Started showing me it's not about the storm. It's not about the money. It's about the foundation. And so God started working on my foundation. Piece by piece, he started addressing here. When I thought it was about the money, I thought it was about the storm, I thought about the conflict, I try to solve it there, and he's saying, that's not the problem. The problem is here. And then he started addressing my heart and started realizing I can't put all my hope in money because money could be here and money could be gone. It's interesting. Philippians 4:13 is like a well-known verse that everybody knows. Evander Holyfield has it on his belt buckle. Philippians 4:13, which is what? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Right? I can do it. Do you know what that passage is about? That passage is about money. That passage is about money. Right before Philippians 4:13, Paul talks about, I know what it is to be well off. I know what it is to be poor. I know it to be have all my needs, and I know what it is to be in want. But he said, I've learned the secret to be content in all situations, that it's not about the money. That I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That he is the one that has my life, not money. And so he started showing me and revealing my foundation. And I said, this is the real issue. It's not the money. It's not the storm. But it's very easy to look at the storm. Let me tell you, it's very easy to not let that be the problem, that is the issue, that has all of our focus and attention, that's what we're trying to solve, that's what we're trying to get at, that's what we're trying to fix. It's very easy. I did it for years and years and years. And it was really until the Holy Spirit started showing me what we're seeing in this passage in Matthew 7:24-27. It's not about the storm, because the good house with the good foundation also gets the storm.